Welcome back to the Punch channel. This is the game Inflection Point. It is by Multiman Publications, MMP, and it covers, in this particular case, the Battle of Kalach in July through 1st of August 1942. This is part of 6th Army's approach to Stalingrad as part of the Fall Blau campaign. So the major river here that we can see, well, roughly where I'm pointing, let's say, and the town of Kalach, this is the major terrain barrier to getting towards Stalingrad, which is off in that direction, generally speaking. So this is the entry of the Tank Armies scenario, and this represents the meeting engagement between the mobile elements of 6th Army and in particular 16th Panzer Division, a camp group of 60th Motorized, and then major elements of 3rd Motorized Division. And they are meeting up against some relatively strong Soviet opposition for the first time in at least the recent part of the campaign. So what we have for the Soviets is we have 2 rifle divisions, 131st roughly here, 196th roughly here. We have 13th Tank Corps, which is a relatively weak formation over here near Dobrinsky. And we have 28th Tank Corps. 28th Tank Corps is clustered more or less here. So that's what's going on here, and they're basically colliding. It was a meeting engagement in terms of how the scenario was constructed, and the 2 units were generally not in contact at the start of the game. 196th was in proximity over here at the crossroads of Ostrov. 16th Panzer held Ostrov, and 196th was fairly close to it. That was about the closest point of contact, if I recall correctly. But I've slept since then. All right, so this is going to be a little different. This is the 3rd turn. Okay, so this will be the 27th July turn, the 3rd turn of this scenario, and the last turn of this scenario. So I'm going to talk about, and I'll list them over here for my convenience. I'm going to talk about victory conditions. I'm going to talk about a series of alternate rules that I'm going to be utilizing in this last turn of the game. It's by a gentleman named Conzelman, and it is the Conz House Rules for BCS that is part of War Diary magazine number 30. So I'll go over those in brief. For full details, of course, pick up a copy. It's $8 in PDF format. They take PayPal, and if you are a BCS fan or even just a casual player of BCS, as I am, you will find it, I believe, to be well worth your while. So enough of the advertising stuff. So we'll talk about that, and then likely get into at least one activation in this video. I've been tending to break up the activations into multiple videos, and so that's where we'll start anyway. And we'll go from there. All right, I'll see you after the segment. Okay, let's talk about victory conditions. So this is just a real quick refresher here. So the Germans, the Axis, will earn victory conditions by controlling routes, geographical routes. So in particular, I've circled them on the map, and there are routes A, B, and C that are in play. There is also a D right down here. D is really quite the stretch. D is interesting. I haven't actually driven anybody over to D, and that's kind of an oversight as far as the Germans are concerned. This is still held by the Soviets. The Germans are controlling C, which goes from Dobrinsky, roughly speaking, over to Ostrov. B, which goes from Plesistovsky to Ostrov. And then A, which is over here near Golubinskaya. It's this little fork in the road here, and it proceeds to an off-map location, which they will hold by default. So currently, at the end of turn 2, the Germans are sitting on 3 victory points, and they would hope to hold on to that. The requirements here for victory are 3 is required for a German victory, so 3 or more. So if they take D, that's nice. The key really to all of this is Ostrov. Ostrov gets you the most bang for the buck because it lets the Soviets, if they take Ostrov, the Germans can do no better than a draw. So that's what's happening here. Okay, next up I'll talk about the Conz House Rules. Right, well, let's talk about the Conz House Rules. So this is a set of rules created by Claire Conzelman, and it's called the Battalion Combat Series Conz House Rules. Okay, and this is part of War Diary 30. I will have the link to that issue of the magazine below. As I said before, it's $8. It's a really good value. There are a number of other articles, and War Diary seems to be pretty much a class act when it comes to their writing. I have gone through this a couple of times now. In fact, this is my printed off copy of the version 2.0 series rules that I bound and got some plastic covers on it, and I went ahead and put the Conz rules at the end of the book. So I think it is pretty much that good. Okay, that said, it's a series of 14 rules that cover many different aspects of gameplay in BCS, and I think that the intentions are to kind of smooth out some of the rough edges, to address some issues that Conzelman found. Yeah, omissions in various factors of combat, some various things to better reflect his take on what is appropriate, more appropriate rather, to reflect the chaos of mobile combat. So now I'm using a subset of his rules, and this is my subset in particular. So he has 14 rules. I'm going to use 11 of them, and one really probably doesn't count. So I'll use second activations, force march, night march activations for infantry, failure and recovery activations, major tank fights, regular attacks, the rule that unit size does matter. There's a rule that Conzelman calls other combat considerations, and it basically amounts to ad hoc combined arms support, as I understand it. There is a consolidating units rule that, as this is the last turn of the game, I don't know how much I will be utilizing it, but it looks like it's a very welcome feature, if you will. There is an interdiction and air bombardment rule as well. It has a couple of different moving pieces to it. I will not use all of that, and I'll explain why. And then there is logistics. So what it comes down to is that I'm going to summarize some of these rules very briefly and then proceed to utilize them here. For full details, of course, buy the magazine, get the article, right? It's good stuff. So second activations means that mech units do not have to do the die roll, right? For example, do not have to do this little 4, 5, and 6 die roll in order to roll for their second activation. They get it automatically. Now, they still have to roll snafu, and regardless of what happens in the snafu, if you get a full activation, it is no more than partial, okay? And that is for every mech unit. So for infantry, there is a rule called the force march, night march activation. Infantry does not normally, under these rules, let me find one. infantry is not going to get a second activation by default at all right here, right? They won't get that. However, they can have the opportunity, after all the mech units have had their opportunity or forgone their opportunity to get a second activation roll, the infantry units, and it'll be an initiative and then a back forth thing between the two players, separate initiative roll to determine who goes first. They will have the opportunity to declare or relinquish the opportunity for formation by formation. What happens then is they do indeed, they pay 1 fatigue up front just for the opportunity, because it is a forced march, night march, right? It reflects the additional strain on non-motorized, non-mechanized units in order to do more throughout the day and the night, as the case may be. So you'll get your roll of 5, and you can get no more than a partial activation, just the same as the mech units. If you fail to get your activation, or if you fail your snafu roll, you still take the fatigue point. That's for trying. Okay, failure and recovery activations. A failure flip will allow you half move. Your units can move halfway. They cannot engage in combat, and so and you will still recover the 1 fatigue. If you intentionally recover fatigue, and I don't see that happening on the last turn of a scenario, if you intentionally go for a recovery activation, you will get 2 fatigue instead. As I said before, no combat. The headquarters and the combat trains may not move at all in case of a failure flip, or I believe recovery. Okay, major tank fights I'll get into. Hopefully we've got some armor in proximity, and basically what it comes down to is that they basically are going through and doing multiple shots until somebody retreats or until the unit's destroyed, and I'll get into that later. There's a regular attacks rule that says, okay, suppose that I were to surround this unit. I can have as many regular attacks as I have units to support it. Now, each unit is only capable of doing 1 attack or 1 assist. That's the same way that it's always been. But if I have, let's just place this guy right here, right? This means I can do an attack, assist, attack, assist. And if you can imagine, attack, assist, right? Or 6 attacks for that matter with no assists. So that's the idea, is that for regular attacks, as long as you've got units that are capable of attacking, they can attack. They can attack the same hex to better reflect reality. Unit size does matter. Ah, I love that rule. Okay, so there's a couple different moving parts here, but what it amounts to is, was it Mao or Stalin? I think it was Mao. Somebody said, there's a quote in history, quote, "God is on the side of the big battalions," I believe, close quote. And no blasphemy intended, of course. So what happens here is that when you are coming up and doing something, when you're doing an engagement or when you're doing an attack, the attacking and defending units will take the number of remaining steps that they have, 2 in this case, divide by 2, and add that as a die roll modifier kind of on top of their AR roll. So that means that if I am if I'm a 6 coming up against a 1, and you round fractions down, so a 1-step unit does not get any benefit from this. So if I were a 6-point reconnaissance unit going up against a suppose that I had we'll just say, going up against a 1-point unit, I would have not only my whatever AR differential was in play, but I would have another 3 points due to that size does matter thing. And this applies to both attacks, regular attacks rather. I think it matters in shock attacks too. I'll consult the rules before I do it. And it matters in engagements. So the idea is that, hold it, I'm a big unit. Supporting units in support are only considered to have a step size of 1, right? That is due to the fact that they are distributed around. Even if you were to have a 6-step armor unit allocated to support, they would not get any benefit from this rule, because again, you've farmed out the unit as penny packets within the formation, is the idea. Useful penny packets, but again, penny packets. Okay, I think it also has to do something with the idea that I like to think that the idea of inflicting casualties on your supports, right, is due to the fact that, well, you know, what if I have a support like over here? Can I do this? Here's a good example. Let's see if we can zoom in on this guy a little bit. Right, that should be legible. This is a two-step Panzerjäger, right? And we've got a fair number of units here. If the entire division was present, we'd have quite a number of units, and they would all be getting support from this. Well, how so? Well, they would be getting support because there would be several of these weapons, right, allocated out to each of the battalions. Now, how do you take a step loss? Well, there's only, like, you know, if I've got 6 battalions, then these are at least in theory uniformly distributed, right, because they always have an effect. Well, over the course of this is my thinking on the topic. Over the course of the day, though, remember, these turns are a day long, right? So the combat that's happening is not happening instantaneously. So my thought is that the spread out packets, right, will tend to coalesce into where the combats are occurring. And because of that, then there will be enough that you could actually get a step loss due to combat. So that's what I think is happening. Now, with the Conz House Rules, this two-step Panzer support, Panzerjäger unit here, would only count as one step, for the unit size does matter. And I think that would reflect the idea that, okay, you are initially dealing with a penny packet and can defeat in detail effectively, or can overwhelm, right, with a larger size attacking unit. And then as other packets come in to reinforce, again, you're overwhelming them too. It seems plausible. I'm kind of grasping, reaching a bit, but hopefully not overreaching. All right, let's do a little bit more work on the camera. There we go. Right, ad hoc combined arms support. All that means is if, infantry and armor together, if they happen to be stacked, then even though this armor unit is not in support, the infantry gets to behave as if it was. And why not? That makes perfect sense. That's kind of how combined arms works, right? You don't have to have this guy sitting back here, you know, in support in order to do it. It also, in this particular game, it is something of a benefit and a slight bias towards the Soviet units, because they have significant restrictions, doctrinal, I suppose, in Inflection Point about what they can and cannot put in support, which is most everybody can't go in support. All right, that's about all. I'll look up the rules again before I actually get to doing it. There's a consolidating units rule that basically says something along the lines of, hey, if I've got 2 units stacked together, they can freely swap out their steps, even to the point of saying, okay, well, I will take the 55th Brigade off the board, and now 56th Brigade is a 4-step, right? You could do that. You can consolidate your units. He was a 3, and I believe he was right over here. Sounds about right, feels about right. I'll go back and look at the prior video to correct if necessary, but I think that's about right. So you can consolidate units. I don't have too many units in position to do this thing, and it is the last turn of the game. And there's some particularities, not peculiarities. There's some particularities. You can't come together and then pull apart in the next turn. If I were to take one of these units out of circulation, it would go in the dead pool and could be brought back in with a replacement. So that's how that goes. Last couple of things, interdiction and air bombardment. Now, I have left out a rule that Conzelman has having to do, actually a couple of bits and pieces of rules having to do with random formation activation. I don't tend to do random formation activation. I don't draw chits out of a cup. I just go, I go, you go, I pick one, you pick one. sort of thing. Pikachu, I choose you, right? So there are a couple of other rules that I'm not actually going to be utilizing, which, I'll leave it up as an exercise to the viewer to purchase, download, and examine the article for yourself. So one thing I am allowing, though, is interdiction. Okay, the idea of interdiction is that any unit that has a any unit that has an artillery point or an air point, right? Within the command range of that headquarters, so 10 in the case of 3rd Motorized, I can basically play whack-a-mole on combat trains. So I can call in a barrage anywhere in that 10 hex radius on a combat train of an enemy unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Haha. So for example, I could hit 131st Rifle Division right here. I couldn't hit 28th Tank Corps, they're too far away, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I could use an artillery point and try and hit 131st Rifle. All that happens if you get a hit on the barrage table under the normal rules and restrictions, all you get is you flip him over to ghost mode. So still, that is a -1 on the enemy snafu table, and you can do it, you can preempt certain things by doing so. And that's the risk you run when you have your combat trains on a road, which they are, pretty much. Okay, logistics. I love logistics. This is rule number 14. It's the last rule in there. And to briefly summarize, infantry units, I just was talking about this. Infantry units don't have combat trains. Oh my gosh, what? How do they get combat? Well, the idea is that the infantry units don't have combat trains because they're not truly necessary. The amount of supply necessary to support an infantry division is a lot less. Here, I'm going to do a quick gander at the rules. Yeah, the author notes, the burden of logistics along one road is real, but only for motorized formations in a relative way. It is not worth it to bother with leg unit logistics in this detailed manner. Infantry formations are not as affected by lack of supply as mechanized formations are. Now, these are leg infantry, right? They're all leg movement. They're all fours for the most part, right? So these are truly leg. They're carrying their stuff around with them, right? Now, the German formations, they're all motorized, right? They are truck bound, so they will keep their combat trains. So the idea here is that, well, the infantry can't cross the streams, right? You can't cross the streams, but you don't get combat trains in optimal range. You don't get the negative modifier for combat trains off map. None of that applies. Ghost trains, not a thing, not for infantry. And so you get a lot less interference with the combat trains of the motorized formations, which, okay, you got fuel trucks, you got ammo trucks, you got a lot of that stuff moving up and down, spare parts, power packs, whatever. You got a lot more of that going on for a mechanized, motorized unit than you do for fuel. I didn't mention fuel. I think I did. Maybe I did. Anyway, in any event. So now, if you're using tracks, still counts, right? So, but the cool thing is, I don't have to use tracks here, right? I can get to the supply point. Is that the supply point? That's the supply. No, that's the supply. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it terribly much, but if the only way to get to your supply point is with tracks, then you take the appropriate tracks modifier. If you are cut off, if the headquarters is cut off from a supply point, that is its MSR, if they are cut off, then they will get the MSR markers, the typical ones, MSR block level 1, block level 2. And they will take trafficability, but not off map, not optimal, ghost, or crossing the streams. None of that applies. And that's for infantry. Smooths things out a bit, in my opinion. I like it. I like it a lot. Did I talk about recovery? I think I did. Intentional recovery is 2 fatigue. Flip recovery is 1 fatigue. But you get to move halfway during that flip. Yeah, so fun. So that was a little bit lengthy than I had hoped for, but hopefully detailed enough to let you understand what the heck it is I'm going to be doing. And of course, I'll be talking out bits and pieces of this, but hopefully not so detailed that you can just go off and do it. We'll see. But hey, you know, somebody is going to use these rules. Somebody's probably going to get the magazine out and go through it in detail sooner or later. That's not going to be me. I'm only going through half the details, and only on the ones that I'm using. So apologies to Claire Conzelman for the extent, but I'm hopeful that that you will find, as I did, that the $8 is truly well spent. And War Diary is a really nice magazine. I've already got 31 as well. Has a great article on Stalingrad, various games having to do with Stalingrad. And so, good stuff. Okay, so that is enough of that. That is a long segment. And now it'll be time for me to do an activation. So let's get on with that. All right, let us do an activation. So I have already taken the liberty of doing a couple of turn-wise items here. And so the first things I've done, I rolled for air points, and hopefully you can see them over here. The Soviets get 3, the Germans get 2. The Germans did not get any replacements. The Soviets got 1 each infantry here at the red arrow, and armor taken here to increase this 55th Tank Brigade to a 2 spot instead of 1. Right. So the weather is always good. That's fine. Now I'm going to put on reinforcements. And so this comes in, what, within 1, I believe? That'll work. Within 1. And we also have a unit of the 196th that can come on within 1 as well. Okay, we'll go there. Cool. Next up, I'm going to roll initiative. Yeah, 2d6. I'm just doing a straight up d6. You just need to resolve the ties, that's all. Soviets have initiative. So, who are we going to choose here? I think the thing to do is probably to run... Man, see, this is part of the fun of the game. Do I want to get the jump on somebody? So do I want to move one of the tank corps, which then invites a later response, but I could get a jump on them, if you will, steal a march almost. Or do I want to do 196th Rifle? I really like the idea of 196th Rifle. And I'm engaged anyway, so... Yeah, I think that is probably the thing to do. Okay, so I'm going to take 196th Rifle Division. And you note that I pulled the combat trains off map, right, for the 2 rifle divisions, so they are no longer in play. And I have no particular, I'm not using tracks for this guy, so let's go down the checklist. 196th. Headquarters initialization complete. Oh, actually, pre-turn phase. Weather, check. Air points replacements, check. Reply replacements, check. Prepare reinforcements, done. Already point independent units, all that. Units enter, exit, support. I think we're also fine there. The ones that could are. So, not playing orders, first player determination, Soviets, done. And we'll go to activation. So we've activated 196th RD. Put them up here to have a running narrative of that. Prep. I need to move. I can't go PD. This is the last, no holds barred. Everything must go. MSR is fine. No PD. Are we mixed? I don't think so. Nope, nope, nope. We are not mixed. That's good. So no coordination marker. Let's do the snafu roll. Snafu table. Fatigue, -1. Scenario, -1. So count this up, down. So this is my snafu roll. 1 for fatigue, another 1 for scenario effects. Let's see, optimal ghost crossing not in effect, MSR tracks not in effect, MSR is complete. So I'm rolling a snafu at a -2. Dice going down. That will do. Full activation. So, duly noted, 196 gets a full. Yay. Alrighty. So, activities. We are now doing activities. Movement, combat, blah, 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 blah. Right. So, I didn't realize he was a 1. That'll work. So, let me see what I can do. Well, let's have an engagement. That's going to be fun. No, why do I have to have an engagement? Well, if I want to move out of there, I get a stopping engagement, but I can move an infantry on top, but not him. Well, let's do the anti-tank. Let's start off with Mr. Anti-Tank here. Now that'd be funny if it dropped traffic in here and prevents him from moving off. So I'm doing a, what? I think I have to do a stopping engagement if I want to move that anti-tank unit. Tricky. A little confused on that, but let's go with it. So the anti-tank unit is a 2 + 1 for the, let's see, for the unit size does matter rule. Let's see, and the other side gets a vote as well. He is a 4, but he's not a 4. He's a 3. And 3 is 1.5, round down is 1. So this is an engagement. Target is real AV, AV and action rating, and this modifier. So 4, 5 versus 7, 8. So that is a -3 already. I'm really not liking that so much, but it's what I've got. Last turn of the game. Leave everything on the track, right? Don't bring anything back to the locker room. All right. What else? Oh, I'm ahead of myself, aren't I? Here's my objective zones. So double objective zone, -2. Alrighty. So that is it. Dropping dice. Target is real AV engagement. On the way. 3, -2. Fire, loss, and traffic, which basically takes out the anti-tank unit. And also drops traffic in the hex, which is going to be, I think it effectively stops the movement for the armored unit as well. So let's get the armored unit into the act. 1 point armored. Now, do I even want to do that? That is an interesting question. No, I don't think I do want to do that. What I want to do instead, is I'm going to run up I think he has to be in the same hex, so I'm going to enter the same hex, conveniently vacated by the now blown to bits anti-tank unit. So what that gives me is I'm now going to do an attack with an assist. I'm going to use the armored unit to assist, And the armored unit is going to, through the other combat considerations, is going to give me a +1 on combined arms. So let's work these numbers. So these are AR comparisons. So I'm doing a real attack, and this guy is a 4. So he is a 2 AR +2, going up against a 5 +1 is 6. So we are -2 for starters, based on AR and size. Then he's got support. That's the armored unit that is in the same hex. So he's got that ad hoc combined arms. So that's going to take me up to -1 because he counts as an appropriate support. I've got a double objective zone, which puts us at 0. I'm going to donate. I'll donate artillery for starters. So that takes us rather, to +2. +2 right here. Let's see, got the assist is +3. Done. Now defender. Defender is a hard red AV in the open, which is a 2 to his side. It's interesting. That's interesting. So I believe I'm a +1 overall. And let's drop some dice. As bad as it gets. 3. A2. That was painful. Attacker dropped 2. So, not fun. Okay, and we've now had an attack against that hex. Guess what? I can do another attack against that hex. It ain't great. Do I really want to do it? Well, why not? Why not indeed? Okay, let's try this. I'm going to flip the unit over and come around here. Okay, and we'll do another attack. So this is a 2, he's full up, so he becomes a 4 against the 6. So that is that's a -2 for starters. Double objective zone is a -1. Suppression mission, I'll donate the artillery, and that takes us up to +1. Assist +2. And the hard red AV in the open hex. Okay, +0. So let's run that. And my dice rolling is really, really, really bad. A2. I've had the worst luck rolling with the dice that came with this game. Would love to hear your comments below. I've tried dice towers, good or bad. I've tried rolling. I've tried talking nicely to them. Doesn't seem to help. All right, continuing on. I need some cover over here, so I'll put these guys over here. Now, I need to get somewhere. So I would love to put some guys along this area to forestall the enemy coming over and taking D, which hadn't really occurred to me that that would be much of an issue before, but yeah, now it is. So let's hug this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Well, at least I'm standing on the target. So 1, 2. Hey, there's an armor unit there. And I have to physically interpose units when it's armor. That's not great. I'm going to rethink this guy. I believe he was there. Because I need something that's a bit more like that. And that, he'll just come around. Well, do I care if he gets jumped? No, not really. Okay, hold on. But before I start doing that, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I've moved these units into proximity. I'm going to issue an attack. And let's count this up. So -2 AR, but we've got the big battalion thing going on here. So he gets another 2. He gets another 1. So that is another. So -3, accounting for ARs and unit size. Let's see, back to -2 double objective, -1, going down the list. Double objective suppression mission takes it to 0. Assist takes it to +1. Is there terrain? Negative. Hey, positive die roll. Come on, dice. Pardon my language, but this is ridiculous. And these dice are going away. So, enough of that crap. That's an A2. Really, really irritating. Crappiest dice I've ever seen. And I've done some bad die rolling. Okay. Then, now we'll do this, this number over here. Okie dokie. And this is going to be whatever it's going to be. So, AR, unmolested AR for that matter. So he is going to be a 7 versus a, he could do it. Sounds good. 7 versus a 4, which is a -3. And I'll use an air point to bring that up to -1. 0 for the double tap, and +1 for the assist. And then back down to -2 for the hard red AV in the open. Terrain? No. Okay. -2. Haha. Something. A1 desituational traffic. I'll take it. One, 2, 3. And for all I know, there may be some funny business associated. Did I take it? Or did I take it off here? This one was an A1. A1, duly noted. Advance after combat into traffic at the point of the double tap. And that is pretty much it. I suppose I could have some fun over here, such as it is. Why not? It's the last turn. So this is another attack. He's not in terrain. That's nice. What's he got under the hood? A lot. He's 4. +2 is 6. And this guy is 4. So he's a -2 for starters. And I'm just going to go with that. Those dice are hired. Okay. That is a 9. That is an A1 desituational in traffic. So he has to come out of there. 1, 2, 3. Thus, I get an advance after combat and traffic. Yay. Remind me to bleep that profanity. I think I will. Okay, and that pretty much constitutes the bulk of this. Some minor movements, expenditure of artillery and air points, and now let's do a fatigue roll. Yeah, I'm not using those dice. We had a combat sequence, so 6. We are in good shape. Right, and that's it. That's it for the moment. So I cannot do, per the rules, right? Per the Conz House Rules, I have to wait for infantry units, have to wait to do a potential second activation. They have to wait until all the mech units, basically until all the initial activations are done. So we are done for the moment. Changes things up a little bit. You know, you don't get to go twice with your infantrymen. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed it. Frustrations with my dice rolling aside, I quite enjoyed making this video, and hope you get something out of it. It is a long video. I want to apologize for that, but sometimes you just have to say what you have to say. And oh, by the way, this was 196 RD first full, just so I have the proper information on this. And again, talking about the Conz House Rules, this is in War Diary magazine. Link will be below. Issue number 30. Other issues don't have it. Other issues do have other versions of house rules that he has done, I believe, for other game systems. But if you want the BCS, War Diary number 30. All right, thank you very much for paying attention, especially if you got this far. Appreciate it. And I hope you like, and would love it if you subscribed, and I will see you down the road.